Hey, what's up, Holy Rollers? Bradley Burdett here. The roll call 5 minute round. Hey, I heard a story today. I was listening to a sermon and it was on Jonah. And I thought, man, that's really good. And so I want to share some of the stuff that he mentioned in there and I want to put it into some jujitsu context. So when I was a blue belt, I competed just right after I got my blue belt. And boy, I paid for that decision. But I did both no-gi and gi, lost both competitions. But I learned a valuable lesson. In the no-gi match, I got the guy I was competing against, man, he was long, lanky, long arms, wrapped me up in a darce, and I was moving, trying to get out of it the wrong way. And I was actually moving, and the way I was moving was making it tighter. And I could see my coach and hear my coach, and he's like, no, move the other way, the other way. And by that time, it was too late. Ended up having to tap and lesson learned. But here's the deal, right? We should be listening to our coaches. I, you know, um, blue belt, maybe I'm sure I'd had some training with some darce at that point, and but at the time, I was just panicked, like get out, you know what I mean? And so I was doing everything I could. But listen to our coaches, listen to your professors. Um, you're gonna have your own spin on things. But when we listen to our professors, right, and take their advice and do the moves and the techniques and things the way they are teaching them, we're gonna find success. When we do it the opposite way, well, we're typically going to learn some lessons. And that was a lesson that I learned. Your professor is a professor for a reason. It's a black belt for a reason. He's got experience, and I'm sure he's still studying. I'm still studying as well. So let's put this into the context of Jonah. If you don't know who Jonah is, there's a book in the Bible called Jonah. He was actually a prophet of God for the Israelites, right? And he's actually mentioned first and second Kings. In second Kings is when we first hear of him. How about that? And yeah, man, he was a prophet. God used him. But we look in the book of Jonah, and actually God calls him to a people, a rebellious people, a harsh people, Nineveh, the Ninevites. And what does Jonah do? He says, nope, I'm not going. And he actually runs away from the call of God. And there's three things. I loved how this pastor that I was listening to put this. There's three things that we see and that we hear him doing when he runs from his call. Number one, he runs in the opposite direction of God's calling. Number two, he goes down into the boat. If you know the story, he gets on a boat and actually tries to flee. Number three, he buys a ticket. This boat, he had to pay for fare to get on this boat. And so let's put those in the context of what that means, man. When we run from the call of God on our lives, we're going to be running in the opposite direction. It's disobedience. It's sin. And so sin takes us down a path we do not want to go. Jonah got down into the boat. And sin will take you down as far as you want to go. There's really no end. And it's a destructive path, so it's down into a destructive path. And thirdly, it will cost you something. Sin will take from you. Following God will cost you something too, but it adds something to your life. Sin costs us stuff in our lives, valuable stuff. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's your life, right? Maybe it's prison. Maybe it's something extreme like that. But the point is, when we run from the call of God on our lives, it's never good. It's taking us in the completely opposite direction. It's taking us down a path we don't want to go, and it costs us something. And if you know the story of Jonah, he gets on this boat. They end up throwing him over, and he ends up getting swallowed by a whale. If that's not a tough situation, I don't know what it is. God used it though. God redeemed it. And Jonah ends up getting spitting out, the whale spits him out of its mouth. And he ends up going to Nineveh and saving the entire city. So just because, here's the encouragement. Maybe you've run from the Lord. Maybe you've run from the calling on that God has on your life. As in the story of Jonah, man, turn back. Go back to God. Go back to that thing that he's called you to. Repent and go back, and God will redeem it and he'll use you. Some encouraging words there. And BJJ, listen to your professors, but heed the voice of God as well. This is Bradley Burdett with the roll call. Heed the call.